Oh, here I guys, hope it's not too sunny for you. Got a few onion recipes planned. 10 maybe, if I can get through them all. Got to use some of these bad boys up. First off though, I want to show you a few basics. How to slice an onion and things like that. So let's get those out of the way a minute. Right, start off with it. Root, stem. Root, stem. So that would be called cutting an onion long ways. And that way would be cutting it across the way, or horizontally they call it. I like to, normally, I'd like to take the top and bottom off my onion. Unless the recipe calls for leaving the root on, which some do. And then just take gently, with the knife, just gently score the top layer and take the top layer off. Just that much, that's all. If the onions are a bit older, you can take a bit more off. So let's do the other one ready. Get rid of the rubbish. Little scratch around the side. Helps to have a sharp knife for this one. Get your finger in there. See, that's not deep enough because that's still got the outer skin on it. There we are. So two ways to slice an onion. You can either go up and down, stem to root, or across the way. And each has got its own advantages. So I'll just show you how I do up and down. Cut it in half. And then just at an angle, very, very gently, small slices, like that. And I'll show you the benefits of each way in a second once I've done all these. I'll just do the one for now. I'll leave that bit. So that's up and down. And this way is round and round. Well, that'll do for demonstration purposes anyway. Right, and what we got then, if we go with the, let's get the middle one, I'll do. Top to bottom, it's quite strong, look. So this is great for your things like your fairground onions, or where you want the slices of onion to stay together. So if we get one that's been cut across the way, that's in horizontally, they snap. Ready? I'm going to try and show you this. See, look. They fall apart, look. So different uses really. This one I'd use across the way, I'd use in dishes where it doesn't matter if they fall apart. Stews, casseroles, you know. The onions are going to dissolve anyway. And yeah, but the long ones, so much better for things where you want it to stay together. Say a jam. It's hard to explain, it's easier to see it yourself actually. Yeah, so they stay together. So I'll be using all these, don't worry, they won't be wasted. Right, and very quickly then, let's get those to one side. I don't think I've actually got any chopped onion dishes planned. If you're going to chop them, there's a couple of ways to chop them. Top to tail, cut it in half, very, very carefully. Very carefully. And again, a sharp knife is better than a blunt knife, because if you slip, you don't press so hard into your skin. So a couple of slits like that, a couple of slits like that, and then just chop away as finely as you want. There we are, diced or chopped onion. There we are. Well, that's the easiest way of doing it. There are other ways, but that's the way I use. I think we better get on and do some cooking. I'll tell you what I'll do with these recipes as well. I'll put them into sort of sections of stovetop, oven, fried, deep fried, and preserves. So they're all sort of grouped together. That sounds like a lot of recipes. I better get busy. Okay then, a free-form onion tart, and by free-form I just mean it's not in a tin. So we need a large onion or a few smaller ones, a packet of ready rolled short crust pastry, butter, creme fraiche, salt and pepper and some thyme sprigs for flavouring. Get a large knob of butter melting in the pan and get your knife sharp. Sharp knife's always better than a blunt knife. You notice I changed knives there because I've got a big onion. Top and tail, peel and finely slice the onion, just like we did in the intro. Get the slices of onion in the pan and then stir them well to totally coat the onions with the butter. In with the thyme and stir that in as well. Get the lid on and sweat the onions down for around 10 minutes. Have a quick look, give it a stir every 10 minutes and after about half an hour it should look something like this. Ooh, look at that. Right. Remove the sprigs of thyme because nobody wants to be chewing those twiggy bits. In with a little bit of seasoning, a bit of salt, a bit of pepper to taste. Stir that in. Take the pan off the heat and let it cool down a little bit. Then add a couple of tablespoons of creme fraiche. Stir it in and set the pan to one side while we prepare the pastry. Now this is where you can go to town, guys. I used a round dish for this, lined it with some paper, and plunked the short crust pastry on top, trimmed it a little bit round the outside. Made up an egg wash, one egg, a drop of milk, ready for glazing in a minute. In with your mix and fold the edges over. I say fold, crumple, twist, whatever you want to do. Like I said, it's free form, that's the idea. Give it that rustic look. Brush the crust with a generous amount of the egg wash. We want it to go nice and brown if we can. And then in the oven, 200 Celsius, 20-25 minutes, or until the crust is crusty. Something like this. Right, let's do it. Okay then guys, here we go. Onion tart. Probably a bit too warm as always. Ooh, no soggy bottom, nice and crispy. Yeah. Yeah, surprisingly sweet. Oh, liking that. Yeah, nice one. Right, what's next? And for the Herby crust baked onions, we need onions, and I suggest 1 onion per person for this. For the cooking liquid, we need chicken stock, some bay leaves, and a couple of leaves of fresh herbs. I've got sage and rosemary there. And for the crust, we need some breadcrumbs. I'm using panko, and some seeds. I've got fennel, mustard, and sesame. And you can use anything you want, really. And a couple of kitchen basics. We've got some olive oil, not shown there, and we need some salt as well. Top and tail the onion and peel them. Try and leave as much of the onion on as you can. And then slice them lengthways. That is stem to root, as we discussed. Into your baking dish and drizzle with olive oil. And then flip them over and brush the oil all over them. And we're going to leave them cut side down for the bacon for now. In with the chicken stock. I may have used a bit too much here, but it didn't matter in the end. I just poured some away. In with the bay leaves and the rest of the fresh herbs if you're using any. Like I said, I used rosemary and sage. There's the rosemary going in. Cover it tightly with silver foil. Okay, I know it's aluminium foil, but I've always called it silver foil. And in the oven, 1.5 hours, 200 Celsius. And while that's in the oven, lightly toast your Herby Crust seeds. Like I said, I'm using sesame, fennel and mustard. I tell you what, I think cumin would be nice with this as well. Only lightly toast them about 2 minutes until the, in my case, the mustard starts popping. Doesn't take long at all. And set them aside ready for crushing later on. And here we are, an hour and a half later. I drained a little bit of the liquid away, but not very much. And you can see now that leaving a lot of the top and the bottom of the onion intact has helped them stay together. Take the bay leaves out, we finish with those. And flip the onions over, ready for the topping. Nice and squidgy. Cooked to perfection, actually. Grind up the seeds in a pestle and mortar, or a blitzer if you have to. Add the breadcrumbs. In with a bit of salt and pepper if you're using any. And what I did now, I transferred from the pestle, is it the pestle or the mortar? Into another bowl. I didn't want to get any oil on the pestle and mortar. I'm going to have to check now. Back in a sec. Well, there you are. The mortar is the bowl. I never knew that. In with a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. Give it a mix in and then generously layer on top of your onions. And then it's back in the oven, 200 or even 220 Celsius for 15 to 20 minutes, just to get the breadcrumbs brown and crispy. Oh, wow. Save the rest for later. Right then, guys, here we go. I'll tell you what, the smell coming off these is incredible. It's going to be a bit warm, I'm afraid. Let's have a... The onion, nice and moist, but it's cooked sweet. It tastes very sweet, lovely. That is really, really good. That'd be good to do in the bottom of an oven with the main roast. Let's have a go with a red one. Oops, destroyed that, haven't I? Yeah. Sweet. The herbs in the crust are coming through. Fantastic. I love this one. That is very, very tasty. Very tasty. Okay then, here we go with marinated roast onions. And in case you're wondering what the difference is between a marinade and marinated, the onions are soaked in a marinade to marinate them. One's a noun, one's a verb. There we are. So this dish is all about the marinade. Red wine vinegar, there's some water missing there. Salt and pepper, demerara sugar, pepper flakes, chili flakes, some chopped rosemary and some rosemary later on, and again I suggest 1 onion per person. Bit of butter needed later on as well. So to prepare the marinade, who said this channel wasn't educational? 1/2 cup of water, 1 cup of red wine vinegar. In with the pepper, chili flakes and salt. And some finely chopped rosemary. Chopping it brings those extra bits of flavour out of it in the marinade. Last but not least is some brown sugar. I'm using Demerara this time. Give it a good stir and set it to one side while we prepare the onions. Top, tail and peel the onions, and we're trying to leave one end quite flat, quite large and flat, and cut them in half horizontally this time. Put the marinade in your cooking dish. And in with the onions. Cut side down and give them a good coating to get the marinade soaking right through. Cover the dish and in the fridge overnight. Next day out of the fridge, I've poured a little bit of the marinade away, flip the onions over so they are cut side up, on with a bit of rosemary and a knob of butter on each one. Then roast them in the oven for an hour at 200 Celsius. Another great one to stick in the bottom of the oven while you're doing your roast. When it's such a nice day, we're going to finish off the roast onions outdoors. And here they are then. They've had the rosemary and butter put on top in the oven for about an hour, 200 Celsius. And you'll see most of the liquid is evaporated now, or rendered down, whatever you want to call it. Lovely, one of each. Save the rest for later, and these are going to be hot, Steve-o, so be careful. Right, here we go then. Great side dish. That is good. Not too sweet, not too vinegary, but it's both there. That is quite different. That'd be rude not to try a red one. Yeah, what can I say, guys? That would be a great side dish. Nice one. Okay then, so I'm not going to reinvent the wheel here with the onion gravy. I made a pretty darn good one last year with my toad in the hole and onion gravy video. I'll put a card to it at the top right hand corner. But all we need for the gravy is an onion, oil, beef stock cube, sugar and some flour. So all I need is 1 onion for me. A bit of oil. I'm just going to lightly brown these for about 20 minutes, get them quite soft. Right, another quick dig well tip for you. If you're frying and things get a little bit dry, this isn't too bad actually, you never ever add more oil. Never put more oil in. What you do is put a drop of water in and it refreshes everything. You know, there we go. Good old Ken Hom told me that one. Okay then, they're about as soft as I want them now. Yeah, a little bit more cooking to go yet, but what we're going to do now is put in a bit of light brown sugar. Stir that around to get them all coated. Let's cook that for another couple of minutes. This is very like my fairground onions. I'll tell you what, I'll put a link to it up, hang on, let's work out, up there. I can't work it out. I'll put a card up for my fairground onions up there. think it's my highest ever viewed video actually. Every June, July, August it gets a surge of views for the summer. Right, that's that then. So they're all coated now. And what we want now is get them coated in flour. And I think I've got a fan on. It's probably going to blow everywhere. That's right. And again, get them coated. There we are. That'll do. And then straight in with the stock. And we're going to reheat that. Get that boiling. Okay, we're just going to simmer that for a couple of minutes till it's as thick as you want it, really. If you have made it too runny, you can always add a little touch of corn flour if you have to. I don't think I'll need to. I don't mind runny gravy. Oh, that's good. Yeah, don't need anything. No salt, because there's plenty in the OXO cube, I expect. I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave it now. That's about as thick as I want it. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm just going to pour it back in this jug. Till I need it. There we are. Oh, lick the spoon like you used to with your mum. Okay then, nice simple one. Agrodolce onions. Now I'd normally use all red onion, but I just chopped this white one up, so I use that as well. So I got what we got here? 2 onions, or half a cup, no, 1 cup of red wine vinegar, little bit of olive oil to cooking in, half a cup of brown sugar, and about half a teaspoon of salt. So. And it is simplicity in itself. You just chuck it all in the pan and cook it for a quarter of an hour. Right then, a bit of oil for cooking in. Not too much. In with the onions. This is the, I wouldn't say poorer relation, but this is an easier way of doing caramelised onions. It's a condiment rather than a side dish. So what did I say, about a cup? Half a cup of brown sugar. Classic combination, sugar and vinegar. Sweet and sour. About 3 tablespoons, that's about half a cup in it. And a teaspoon of salt. Here we go, that's all been used, so nothing left on the table, so I know I've done it all. Bit of skin there, don't want that. Let's get this heat up. Right, there we are then guys, back in quarter of an hour or so. Right, here we are guys, that is quarter of an hour later. And that is just about done for me, I reckon. So let's get the heat away. There we are. Well, there we are. Agrodolce onions. And I know they're going to be warm, but... Oh. Yeah. Sweet and sour, it's absolutely lovely. Oh. That is a double diggy, thumbs up, lovely. Okay then, onion soup, or more specifically, French onion soup. So we've got an onion, believe it or not, couple of tablespoons of plain flour, some lazy garlic, a bit of salt, stock pot. You can use whatever you want really. I I tend to use the stock that is accompanying the meal. So if we've got a roast beef meal, I'll use beef stock. In this case, I'm just going to use a red wine stock. Bit of sugar, oil and butter for cooking in, and a baguette and cheese for later on when we come up to serve it. First thing I do is slice the onion, get it cooking, so I shan't bore you with that. Nice and thinly sliced for this one. Right, and because that onion is so big, I'm only going to use half of it, because it's only for me. Okay, drop of oil, a knob of butter. That's it. Right, in with the onions, so I'll split them up a little bit as you drop them in. It's all very well having big onions, but if you don't use them all, it can be a bit of a pain. Lovely smell with the butter and olive oil melting together. Right, sweat these down 10 minutes with the lid on. Okay, ooh, look at that. Taking a bit of colour on actually, a bit slow there, Steve. Right, that's been 10 minutes. Okay, sprinkling a bit of sugar. I'm using Demerara sugar this time. Doesn't really matter. And caramelise the onions. Lid off. Heat down. Keep watching them. Should take about 15-20 minutes. A bit less for me because I haven't got many in here, so I'm going to have to watch these. Okay, that's about a quarter of an hour, and as you can see, look, they've gone nice and brown now. Caramelised, as they say. So in with a drop of garlic. I'm using lazy garlic. Let that cook for a minute or so. Okay, in with a tablespoon of flour and stir it in quickly. Just to coat the onions. In with the stock. Like I said, I'm using a red wine stock. Most of it, anyway. And we'll let that boil down now for at least half an hour. And a little bit of salt, I think. Ooh, too much, just a little bit, quarter of a teaspoon. There we are then, back in a bit. Okay guys, that's been going for a good 20 minutes now. It was just a little bit bland. So what I've done, I added a little bit of mustard powder. Just a little bit bland, it's just me, innit? And of course, if you're allergic to mustard, or if you've got one of those food allergies, don't add the mustard. I just put a little bit extra in to show you. Right, that's it, we're all done there. Off with the heat, right into an oven-proof dish. Try and pour this so we don't spill it everywhere. Just about enough for one person, I reckon. Right, a freshly baked baguette. So a couple of pieces of this to go on top, I reckon 3, I reckon, yeah. That'll do. Now you can either put the cheese on the bread and grill it, or you can put the cheese on the bread in the soup and grill it. That's what I'm going to do. So just hope they float. Tell you what, I'll put 4 in, so they hold themselves up. Freshly baked baguette. It's one of those part baked ones that you stick in the oven for 5 minutes. Brilliant. And this is the gruyère cheese. Okay then, in the oven for as long as it takes for that to go melty and bubbly. Right then, oh, look at this. Oh, right, soup first. Oh. Fantastic. I know I've said it before, but that is as good as a French onion soup you'll get anywhere. I'll tell you what, I think the red wine stock adds something to it. I might do that in future, actually. I'll just tackle one of these bits of bread. I think I'll do this. That's going to be hot. This takes me back to a restaurant in Cocoa Beach in Florida when I was on the submarine. It was called Gatsby's, and all the meals were named after gangsters. But I can't remember what the French onion soup was, and that is the first time I ever had it, and I was gobsmacked, I tell you. And this, it just takes me right back to 1980. Right, I'll stop talking now and finish this off for my lunch. Oh yeah, lovely. Double diggy, thumbs up. Okay then, conscious of the fact that the video could drag on a bit, I've done the oven-based dishes, I've done the stovetop dishes. I'll leave the preserving ones and the frying ones for next time. I've done a few of them, but I just don't want to put them all into one big long 1 hour video, you know. I tell you what, these onions are fantastic. Hope you enjoyed this, guys. Catch you on the next one.